So now we're gonna move into our Tu Ta Loca Es, where we call motherfuckers out for doing the most. Okay. Because this has been really bothering me in such a way, like to the point, like no lie, I don't have the energy to give a Facebook post or a something post to talk about my opinion. I'm just like, you know me, and you know how I feel about my country. Yes, even though I was born in the US, I'm Dominican, and you know, like, y'all don't want to go there? Fine, quédate en tu casa. Porque nadie te manda, está metiéndote nada más en resort and not engaging the whole island in the beauty and really getting to know the local community and culture. Obviously not saying I think it's okay what's been happening, but I do think that people have forgotten that there is investigative journalism and things that need to be done. There was an article from MSNBC, if anyone cares to know, that was talking about how actually with all the death rates that are going on, this is still the lowest amount of death rates in the United States for tourists in the history of the Dominican Republic. But because of the way it's being spun now, it is the thing. It is what happened. And I'm like, let me tell y'all something. Motherfuckers go to Brazil and come back with no kidneys. People, you know, like there's so much, so you can get kidnapped. You can get
people were killed. A young woman was
killed. Like people get kidnapped, like legitimately kidnapped for ransom. You know, even without being bougie and rich, like they'll target our asses just because they see we were wearing a lot of gold. This happens in a lot of different countries, and so I'm a little salty that, you know what I mean, that we're getting all this attention, because I do think that there's so many layers to this conversation. So I definitely, Skittles, I know you're supposed to be going in August. First of all, what are you
not supposed to be going. I'm definitely going.
If you're not going, you can get tickets.
Right.
Seriously. Well, I've been so excited to see Dominican Republic, period, because I've been going to Puerto Rico all my life. So this is the first time that I get to see what Dominican Republic is like, period. Like, for the first time. I have like, my mom has like friends who actually live in DR. So yes, I'm going to do the resort thing, but yes, I will be venturing out and seeing what normal, regular life is.
in DR.
But my tired teacher ass put my investment into going and having an all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-drink experience at Dominican Republic, and I'm going to follow my coin. Fuck out of here if you're gonna think of some like death like articles gonna deter me from going, because no, like I think it's crazy how like something like this is like, it's kind of like a fad, you know, like all of a sudden it's really popular to hate on Dominican Republic. When I was going to Mexico 2 years ago, there were people dying in Mexico, and they were like, you know, it's like, is this new fad where it's like, oh, it's popular to hate on this and make people scared of this, and what's gonna happen? Who's getting benefits out of this?
It's crazy. Like I literally did the math, and 6 million tourists visit the DR every year. Since 2006, what's that, like
13 years ago now?
Like, that's 70,000 tourists? 70 million tourists?
Wow.
Instead of 70 million, what was it, like 16 Americans have passed, or maybe less? I mean, I don't have the exact numbers, but once you do the math, the probability of you dying in DR are 0.000017. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think you're more likely to win the lottery. Or die
on the way to the airport. Like
so many other things. And so the likelihood of you dying in DR are very slim.
Right.
And I don't want to sound like I'm being inconsiderate, like, or not inconsiderate, but I'm being like insensitive to the death of these people, because I think it's really sad and it sucks when people die anywhere. But there's this whole like American like exceptionalism that exists, where like we're the best and we're the most important and we're the most blessed by God, you know. And so whenever an American passes, it's just that life is just so much, especially a white American, but you know, Americans in general, when they die, that life is way more important than like all the lives lost in Sudan in a matter of like a few, you know, hours or whatever in a protest, or all the lives lost here or there. It's just like this whole idea of the U.S. being more important than anywhere else in the world is very troublesome to me. And I lived in DR 10 years, and during those 10 years, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say nothing happened to me. I was mugged. I lived through very traumatic experiences in the DR. And you know, and I'm still upset at those experiences, and I'm still mad at the government for not, like, you know, putting an end to crime and to delinquency in DR.
Right.
But I think all that stuff is tied to something that's more grand in terms of like education and poverty and access to, you know, opportunities and all these other things that the government needs to deal with. But I don't think that your life is in danger when you're in DR necessarily.
Yeah. No. And I think like it's the same thing like when people say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Africa and can't even like name a country. It's like this just like smudged view of what a place is. I remember one time a friend of mine had a friend that was going to DR and they were like, okay, be honest with me, but like, is this a safe place? Like, would you feel comfortable if I was your best friend? Would you feel comfortable sending me here with just a bunch of other white girls? And you're like asking me questions like that, and I'm like, why are you first of all, it's like self-incriminating my people to be something that they are all collectively not. And there's danger anywhere. First of all, in terms of me getting like shot down and killed, that can happen right the fuck here.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
First of all, I studied abroad in France. And I studied abroad in the southern part of France in Marseille, and I had a really scary incident there where like these Turkish and Russian men were gonna like abduct me and like basically like white trafficking and all this stuff. And it was really, really, really crazy.
Yeah.
I remember having to like run and like get away from them or whatever, but that was gonna happen in France.
Yeah.
You know, and here, living back here after being 10 years in DR and being in New York now, living here, I'm not gonna lie, like, I literally fear my life sometimes when I'm walking out and it's dark in the Bronx, or not even there. Sometimes it's just going inside of a post office or a concert or something, you know, and like being afraid of like, is there gonna be a crazy shooter?
Yeah.
Is he gonna shoot this place down? And it's just like, why don't we talk about those things? Like, why are we talking about the fact that it's probably more likely for you to die from a freaking mass shooting in the US than it is for you to die in DR?
Hello. Can we put that on a plaque somewhere and just like just post it? No, I agree, and I think that one of the parts that's really troubling to me is how this tourism is such a big stake in the economy over there that this idea that folks might like pull out and like not be going to DR and not producing this wealth. Like a lot of these people, especially in like the towns of Punta Cana, La Romana, Puerto Plata, wherever you have the concentration of resorts, a lot of those towns, like the employees are the town. Like it's almost like the employees are so you're in Punta Cana, you're in Punta Cana, and then the people who are working there are from Punta Cana, so you really almost get to experience both sides by accident almost. And then what happens when these people don't show up? And like I was making this joke, I'm like, well, if people don't want to go, great, para que bajen esos precios de esos pasajes, so I can go, you know, like just go back and forth. But in reality, it's like, though it does create like maybe more access for Dominicans trying to travel there because maybe it's less appealing, so pricing goes down. But like, what about the people who are there who need that money? They need that coin.
Well, my argument to that is that the Dominican government needs to ponerse la pila and create a different source of generation of revenue for the country. I think that we're too dependent on tourism. I think tourism is important, but I also think tourism brings a lot of negativity to countries. It brings sex works, and not that I have a problem with sex work, but I have a problem with disenfranchising women and little girls because of sex work. And so what else can we do? Let's maybe pump in more money for agriculture because we have very fertile lands. Let's think of maybe creating more industrial jobs for things we can export. Let's look at what we can do in the DR. Let's look at internal tourism. That's booming right now, and there's a lot of amazing people doing incredible internal tourism. And another shameless plug of Aquaman RD and Atlas Travelers. Those are two of my absolute favorite like tour guides in DR. So if you ever want to do some like real touring of the DR, look them up on Instagram and schedule something with them. It's amazing. But we have to reinvent ourselves as a country. You know, we have to invest on social entrepreneurship and in entrepreneurship in general. And stop depending so much on tourism.
Yes, I 100% agree, and that's my dream world, is that we take out the stake and the power of that. Because even for these companies, if they're like, oh, DR got too dangerous and we want to pull out for some reason, let's just assume, like they can do that and they have that luxury. I want to, you know, see a DR where, you know, there's no one leaving the country and running out because the wealth is is being generated by the people who are there, and so there is no leaving. There's how do we make it better because it's ours and we want it to live.
But also, if you have most of the owners of these resorts are white, and they're European, and they privatize the beaches. This is all very problematic in and of itself, and so. You know, if you don't want to go, that might push the DR to do something else that's more lucrative and more sustainable.
Yeah, the universe never lies. We don't know why things happen. Very true. Awesome. So now we're going to move into our main topic, which is the universal curl, right? So there is a curly hair movement that has, I couldn't date it. I don't know, one day maybe there'll be a history book that can really mark the moment that this thing has taken off, and people, Afro-Latina, Black, just all these different cultures have come together to create this community. And there's something that's really it's interesting about this because even though it is a diverse community, unlike things like white feminism or other groups where it's there's a collective, there's something about the curly hair movement that is very much led by women of color. You know what I mean? In a way that's empowering, but it's still very inclusive, and I think it's a great example of how other movements can also be inclusive, but have the stakeholders who need to be the leaders, and I do think it is important that Black women who are the women who are most disenfranchised about their hair. I mean, shit, it was only in February 2019 that it's illegal in New York for people to not hire you because of your hair, right? And we know what groups are largely targeted. It's not people who look like Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld with that kind of puffy hair. It's women who have hair like ours, and even this, I have these faux locks, and the women who actually have locks, being turned away for that work. And so I've always had such a great admiration for the curly hair movement, even before I decided to stop perming my hair and stop blow drying my hair and doing all that stuff, because I understood the implication and the stakes of what's going on. What I didn't know going into it was how much self-love and self-confidence that you have to see the full thing through, kind of like being vegan, in the way where there is a commitment to your hair. And I used to like being able to just go sit in a chair, maybe take a nap and wake up and then be boom, ready to go out. And now I have
soon you'll be able to do that.
Yes, and dude, another plug at Miss Rizos salon. And even that, the lack of access, I can go on and on, so I'm definitely gonna direct it to you, but even that experience I talk about because I go to own a salon, so to me, and it's different, even financially, the price points are different than what I was used to paying, these 30 pesito in a salon, but I come in and Ona is incredible.
She's a hair saint for real.
Yeah, she's really a hair saint, so you really do go there and you walk out feeling blessed and empowered and ready to take on the world, which is invaluable in itself, but you're in this space that is just redefining what the Dominican hair salon experience is. So when we were talking earlier, I really do mean that. A Dominican hair salon to me is very much a focal point that is both, yes, a product that you're getting, but it's cultural, and that being a Dominican woman and Dominican hair salon is synonymous. You either had an experience that makes you love it, or you've had an experience that has made you run away from it in the other direction. But anyway, all that to say, the movement is important, and I love the forefront. What are some of the strides and changes that you've seen over time in this curly hair movement?
Oof, so many, and I think that's what keeps me going. I feel very lucky, and I always say this that people maybe Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and even Sojourner Truth and all these people who fought really hard for people's rights, they died, and I don't think they got to really see how their work impacted lives. And thanks to globalization, and thanks to social media, and thanks to the way that information is shared, I get to read people's anecdotes about how I've changed their lives, or how Miss Rizos has changed their life, or how the natural hair movement has changed their lives every single day of my life. Yeah. And that's such a blessing. In terms of strides, in the DR, you're not allowed to wear your hair curly at work or at school. Yeah. And so being able in the past 8 years of having this blog, this movement, this social entrepreneurship project, being able to see now more women going into work with their curly hair, seeing more women, more young girls being able to go to school and university with their curly hair, it's just it's crazy. And just recently, literally 2 weeks ago or a week ago, this case study that was done about Miss Rizos 2.5 years ago was finally published and printed. And it's 10 case studies talking about sustainable businesses in the DR. DR, and I was one of them. And so the cover of this book is like a woman with an afro.
Wow.
It's for a business school, the only business school in DR, which is Bronche.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so the people who go to this business school, which is like prestigious, you know,
Right.
are the executives of these banks that don't accept these women with curly hair. So they're reading about me in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so now they're having sort of this double situation, right? One, they're seeing that curly hair is important and that there's a business that's sustainable and thriving because of this. And two, the owner of this business is a black curly hair woman who is, you know, well known and who's been in the New York Times and all over the media, both national and international. And so that gives me this legitimacy and this weight of like, you know, changing their imaginary. They're now imagining a black woman with curly hair as a business owner.
Right.
And not just in the, you know, short-sighted version of what society has sold to them or what they've been also responsible to create of what a black woman is.
Yeah.
And so it's really exciting, and I was told that one of the largest banks in DR recently decided to like change back their role because of that case study.
That
I was literally like bawling to the point where I was like, oh, Miguel's and everything. I was like literally because of what that means.
Yeah.
It just means a lot. That bank is where I bank. And so that's where we're a bank. And so I would go into this bank every week to do something, and the women there always like compliment my hair. And these are women I literally have seen my business grow. I started going there 5 years ago when I opened Miss Rizos, almost 5 years ago. And so they literally have seen me go from like a $100 credit card to a black card.
Yes.
And then back to $100. They've seen the struggle, they've seen me cry, they've seen me like, you know, it's really, really hard. And so every time they see me, they're like, oh, I wish I had my hair. And so I wish I could do my hair like that, but they don't let me here. So to think that this case study is literally going to allow these women to be who they are and to showcase who they are to the world in a place like their workplace is just invaluable. And I think I mentioned it to you today that I feel like I'm paid for in terms of like, you know, that feeling I got when I saw that case study, that Afro woman on the front page, and then hearing that, it was just like I felt like I won $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just felt so good. And so there's a lot of different things that have happened in TR specifically, and then obviously all over the U.S. and the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's beautiful, and I want to say thank you for doing that work. I think that a lot of people go into like a passion project and don't understand that with the right will and dedication that you actually can create larger impact. That's a huge deal. And one day there will be, you know, someone who's there with their hair all out and proud, and they will not even know that there was a moment in which somebody had to fight for it. And like it's one of those things where it's like amazing and wonderful, and it speaks to like the being able to like see the benefit now. So you see that people loved it and encouraged it because, you know, years from now nobody's gonna give a fuck. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna be like, no, this is what it is, and this is what it always has been, which is the beauty of.
I can't wait
I
can't wait for us to just talk about curly hair like from an aesthetic you know, like this is how you take care of it, this is what you do with it. Like just like we talk about straight hair.
Right.
You know, like we normalize it and we just talk about it like you know, whatever, an accessory for your body, and then this is what the different things you can do to it.
Yeah.
But that it won't necessarily determine your social, political, economic status, for God's sake.
Right.
Just like the color of your skin.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm talking about hair, but it's a whole thing, you know. It's the fact that I have a dark skin, big lips, you know, round nose, round face, women navigating a world where, you know, I'm not being represented as a case study for success.
Right.
And so it's breaking all these ideas and dismantling this idea that I need to fit into this mold of very skinny, very white, very straight hair to be successful, to be liked, you know what I mean, to be accepted.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your camp with the girls?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry. Oh my God. So for the past 5 years, this is our 5th year. Every summer we go up to Niches. Niches is about 3.5 hours from Santo Domingo, 4 hours from Santo Domingo. It's a very small town of like I think 24,000 the entire municipio, but it's like 10,000 or 7,000 the actual like town of Niches. So it's a very small town, very poor, not a lot of opportunities. And so there's a Fundación Tropicalia. Every summer they do a summer camp called Soy Niña, Soy Importante. I'm a girl and I'm important. And so we've been participating and for 5 years, and we go in there, we do workshops with the girls. And these workshops, we talk about self-esteem, we talk about identity, we talk about pelo bueno, pelo malo, and why it's not right to call it that. We talk about so many different things, and every year we add like a different component to it, because there's 4 groups, 9 to 13-year-olds. So 5 years doing this, so the 13-year-olds and the 12-year-olds and the 10-year-olds of 5 years ago are now 17, 19, and 20.
Wow.
So it turns out that last year they got together, a group of them, and they created the Curly Girls of Niches. So they created their own group of like their own group where they do each other's haircuts, they do tutorials on each other, they like share and swap products and everything. And so I was invited to one of their events this year.
Wow.
And I went with my team, and we got there, and it was just like they rented chairs and like, you know, like I just could not believe it. There was like 40 girls there.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't believe that there are results of like the work we did years before.
Yeah.
So we asked them, we're like, so what do you want to do? Like, how can we help you move this forward? And they literally were like, we want to get in front of classrooms. We want to be able to teach what we know in the community. And we're like, all right, let's make this happen. And this is why it's so important to have a team, right? I'm here in New York working on expansion, and my whole team's in DR working their asses off to make stuff happen.
Yeah.
And so my GM, Awilda, and the rest of the crew, they got together, they're figuring it out. And about 2 weeks ago, they invited the girls from Niches to come to Santo Domingo. So a group of like 3 or 4 of them, they went through the training with the volunteers and with my girls, and now they are co-leading the Miss Rizos curriculum at the summer camp this year.
That is
so it's like, it's wild. So the same girls that were sitting like in these classrooms 3 years ago, they're now standing in front of these classrooms and teaching their peers.
Yeah.
And they have the Miss Rizos volunteers and the Miss Rizos like actual team member there next to them, like supporting them. And it's just like, I see it and I can't believe it. Like I'm just like, wow. You know, and so again, these are little things that keep me going throughout like these periods, which I'm going through one right now, these periods of like, just like crap, what did I get myself into? It's really hard. There's a lot of like, you know, or there's a lot of feeling of lack. I don't like to claim lack because if I claim lack, that's what I'm gonna get. Yeah. And so these are the things that keep me afloat, and these are the things that keep me really focused and like give my life so much purpose and fulfillment and meaning. And it's just like, it's being able to leave the world a little bit better than how I found it, you know, and give people the tools to continue to change the world themselves. And it's like, it's not about me, it's not me.
Yeah.
And that's fucking powerful, man.
Yeah. Yes, girl. I feel so full and inspired by all of that. You know, and it's so funny because like as a curly hair girl, and like even being able to say that now feels weird. Like, yeah, I am a curly hair girl, and understanding the spectrum of it, I think it's like one of those communities where like it's intimidating at first, because like the idea that I still say I have like, you know, these moments where I'm like, I really miss my blowouts.
Like, you'll get one.
And then
that's the thing. Like my thing is not policing anybody's body. Like if you want to blow out, if you want to weave, if you want to wig, if you want whatever you want, do it. I feel like the importance here is to eradicate this idea that you're going to place a value on me based on the way my hair looks. That's problematic. But I should be able to do with my hair what I want to do with my hair, because it's a part of my body and I make the decisions on what to do with my body. Yeah. You know? Yeah,
100%. I be fearing that blowout though, the ones that like fuck up the progress.
That heat damage is no joke.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much for sure. So. Yeah.
So, you know, Miss Rizos Salon is coming soon here in New York. What are you most excited about?
Oh my God, so much. So this past weekend, I was at Que Lo Que. I don't go out a whole lot, but I love to dance. And can you, like, please put me onto somewhere where I can dance? Because people don't fucking dance here anymore. They just kind of models and hoops. I just want to dance on bachata.
Yeah.
On some I want to go to a club and have all these guys ask me to dance. Now, no one, like, nadie te pide bailar.
Nope.
Or they ask certain women that look a certain way to dance.
Girl.
And everyone's just like buying bottles and smoking hookahs. But anyways, another story.
Right.
Maybe another
Podcast.
But, you know, I was like, okay, this past weekend, and this group of girls, they were like giving me drinks and like, just like very welcoming. And we love you, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about the salon, like as I'm drinking and partying.
Right.
And I remember they were like, I think they asked me something similar, and I was like, I would have a pasta making class. It sounds crazy, but it's like, how many fucking pasta making classes do you have in Uptown?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like too often, like, gentrification brings all this, like, beautification process to our neighborhoods and all these cool things to do. And it's like, why don't we create those cool things too, right?
Yeah.
And I think that we don't because of lack of access to resources and all these other problematic things that I'm not going to get into. But I do want to bring the space that's just, it's beyond curls. So of course I want to bring what I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I've walked almost every street between Inwood and Washington Heights, what I believe to be the first or the only, at least right now, curly hair salon in Uptown.
Yeah.
And by Uptown, I mean Inwood, Washington Heights, not necessarily like Harlem or Bronx.
Right.
And so that's, first of all, I'm not claiming that in any way, shape, or form as like a badge of honor. I think it's actually pretty ridiculous that there are curly hair salons.
Yeah.
Hello, I would certainly support in the meantime of getting, like, I like love doing my hair, but I get tired and I'm busy and I'm a businesswoman, and in DR I did my hair every single week at the salon.
Right.
I miss that so much.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I do want to bring that access to, you know, not like super barato, like a blowout, because is expensive, and the quality of what we're trying to do, you know, and we're trying to pay people like real salaries and stuff, but definitely very competitive prices compared to other places where you're paying an arm and a leg for like something like a wash and go, and you don't even really have the option of a wash and go in a lot of these places. So it's actually offering this like everyday care for curly girls. So there's that, and then there's the cultural part too, as I was mentioning. Like, I want to be able to have a physical spot where it's my freaking spot, like in the DR, and I can do with it whatever I want. So if I do want to transform it into like this like mini theater and have you come and do your piece or whatever.
The pasta class. We're gonna do the pasta class.
Teacher, which is
amazing. Oh, I can't
I think her Instagram is Pasta Social Club. You like, and every picture she takes on there is with an iPhone. I can't believe it. Like, she's so good, and the pasta's so delicious. So we're gonna make that happen.
Yes, I love that. And so I think that really ties nicely into the idea that like the universal curl, there's so many different things that people bring to the table, and I do think you're right. There's a certain degree and a certain moment where we won't want our hair to be political. We want it to just be hair, and that we can just exist in the space, and that it's all beautiful and everyone's like okay with it. And like, I wish so badly, and like, you can't go back in time, but like, I lived my wildest curly hair dream because the women in my family who were before me didn't, and they, like the fact that you still can't wear your hair natural. I work in DR, like imagine them back in the day when you were born when Trujillo was still technically, a dictator, and then like growing up in the years after that. There's so much that generation was robbed of in terms of exploring their beauty. And so, like, as much as I, definitely want to lose the radicalism, I will always, because I saw that generation and lived them, I'm always going to feel like I'm honoring them with my hair.
You know that one of my clients, she shared this dream she had, and it literally brought me to tears. And every time, like, I say it, I get so emotional about it. But she said she had a dream that there was a line, like, across the block of African women waiting to be, like, seen at the Miss Rizos salon in DR.
Wow.
Like, like how people say, like, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Like, Miss Rizos salon, Dominican Republic, is on the same street that enslaved Africans were sold.
Wow.